Hi everybody, this is Mike with EastIdahoNews.com, and joining me today is Josh Allen, a English professor at BYU Idaho, and he is here to talk about his new book coming out soon. It's called Out to Get You. Josh, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So, Josh, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an English professor at BYU Idaho. I've taught there for 15 years. I'm a dad. I have 4 kids of my own, so I'm passionate about them becoming readers. I'm a writer, and I've lived in the Rexburg area for the full 15 years I've taught at BYU Idaho.
Okay, fantastic. And why did you decide to write a book?
Well, this book is for kids. This is what we call middle grade fiction. So it's for children in between the ages of about 8 to 12 years old. And I'm really passionate about helping kid readers transition into adult readers. And so I think we need to have a lot of good books out there for young people that can keep their attention and that can keep them reading in those years when a lot of kids stop reading. I think everybody reads when they're really young. But as we age, for some people, it becomes less appealing to us. And it's important for me to make sure there are good books out there for 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, to keep them reading as they transition into adulthood.
So Out to Get You is a collection of scary stories, if I understand correctly.
Spooky stories, that's right.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about what readers can expect.
Well, there are 13 short stories in this collection. They're sort of zany and creepy. You could think of it as Twilight Zone for kids. There's a story about, like you've seen the school crossing sign that has a boy and a girl going through a crosswalk. There's a story about the boy and the girl who are trapped in the school crossing sign. There's a story about a haunted paper towel dispenser in the boys' bathroom. There are just kind of weird, zany stories like that would speak to things that go on in the middle school experience that kids have.
Are these your original stories?
These are original stories. These are my ideas that I've come up with, mostly through just paying attention to the world. I'm really interested in taking something that seems to be mundane, like a school crossing sign or a paper towel dispenser, and trying to write a story that makes that thing seem creepy or strange or unfamiliar in some way.
So why spooky stories? Why scary stories?
Well, I think 2 main reasons. The first, kids today live in a pretty frightening world. There's a lot for young people to be afraid of. You know, a lot of the adults in their lives are upset at the television, upset at each other, upset at the leaders of their countries. And I think it's difficult for kids to navigate that sometimes. And I think that spooky stories allow kids to experience emotions like fear, anxiety, tension in a very safe space. They can figure out how to navigate those emotions so that in their real lives, when they encounter those emotions again, fear, anxiety, tension, they're more equipped to deal with them. And so I'm trying to, by writing spooky stories, I'm hoping to inoculate kids against a frightening world and help them figure out how to navigate a world that can be sort of scary sometimes. Also, a second and maybe more important reason that I write creepy stories is they're really fun. I just think that freaky stuff is fun. And so I like freaky stuff.
Have you written anything else before?
Well, I've published some short stories for adults. I've published some essays that I wrote for adults. This is my first book for young readers. This is my first book for kids.
Okay. So the artwork, I've only seen the cover art so far, and you've told me it does something kind of fun.
Yeah, the cover actually glows in the dark. So if you take this into a dark room, everything that you see in white, the title, Out to Get You, the tree, that all glows really green in the dark, and it's really cool. And I thought when my publisher told me they were doing a glow-in-the-dark cover, I thought it'd be one of those things where you have to hold it up to a light bulb for 5 minutes and then it sort of glows. It really glows. You take this in a dark room and it really kind of lights up. It's pretty cool. The artwork in this, each of the 13 stories in this book has a full-page illustration accompanying it. The illustrations were done by an artist named Sarah Coleman. She's done work for Harper Lee. She did the cover for the 50th anniversary edition of To Kill a Mockingbird. She's done work for Malala. The director Guillermo del Toro Toro, the New York Times bestselling author Cornelia Funk, and now I'm honored to have her do some work for my book.
So this book has already had some good reviews and some reactions.
It has, fortunately, yes. So it's had a favorable review from Kirkus Reviews, and it received a starred review from Booklist. Booklist is the review publication for the American Library Association, and it was also named a Junior Library Guild selection, which is a real honor for kids' books.
What's your favorite of the 13 stories in here?
My favorite, it changes from day to day, but because you asked today, there's a story in here about some really creepy cats called 9 Lives, which it really gets at what I believe about hope and redemption and how we can make up for mistakes that we've made. And so, because you asked today, I'm going to say that story, 9 Lives.
You've mentioned that you want to keep young readers reading as they get older. Mm-hmm. What is so important to you about reading?
I think that reading, like I said when I talked about fear, reading equips us to deal with a real world. We often think that reading is an escape from the world in which we live, but I don't believe that. I think that reading allows us to practice emotions and situations that we're going to have to navigate eventually in our real lives. So it's important, I think, for young people to read so that they can learn to navigate different emotions, difficult social situations, and so that they can transition into maturity. It's a lot easier to, for example, move out of the house and become an adult if you've read a lot of books about people who have moved out of the house and become an adult, if you've had a chance to practice those emotions and practice that experience again and again in literature, then when it's time to do it in real life, I think it's easier for you, and I think you transition into it much more simply.
What's your favorite book?
Oh, that's an incredibly difficult question. Yeah, that's an incredibly difficult question. I love Ernest Hemingway. I think he's a fantastic writer. I love another middle grade writer out there today named Gary Schmidt, has written a book called Okay for Now, which I think is just stunningly good. There's so many great books out there. I think Hello Universe is fantastic. I can't pick one. It's impossible to pick just one. But if I had to go with one, maybe The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway.
Well, Josh Allen, thank you so much for taking the time to be here and to talk about your book. How can people get it, and when does it come out?
It's already available for pre-order on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or IndieBound, pretty much wherever books are sold online. It comes out September 3rd. There will actually be a launch party in Rexburg on September 7th, 7 o'clock at the Madison County Library, which is open to the public. Anybody can come and listen to me read a story and talk a little bit about the book, and that'll be a fun night.
Well, thank you. It's coming out just in time for Halloween to get your creepy story fill as you're getting ready for the season. Thank you so much. The book is Out to Get You by Josh Allen.
Thank you.